So like for the normie out there, what's the best like simple to use kind of like program? Like Adobe or like what's the best one to use? That's pretty simple.
Uh, I don't think calling them simple is the right thing to call them because they're not exactly simple
Yeah,
at first.
I've tried. I've tried Adobe. Adobe's pretty complicated to me.
Yeah, that's of them are really simple when you're using them for the first time. However,
Yeah, of course.
there's a learning curve over there. And unless somebody explains to you or you watch a tutorial or something, you just have to try to experiment with yourself. But I would say Adobe is the best. It's not necessarily the easiest, but Adobe is the best tool out there, and it's the best software of
Mhm.
umbrella of tools. It has like everything from Illustrator to Photoshop. So like anything a graphic designer could use, a video editor, even a photographers usually use a lot Photoshop and Lightroom. Designers use Photoshop, Illustrator, and design. Um, People that do animation and motion graphics, they go more into After Effects and Premiere Pro, and
Mhm.
videographers use Premiere Pro
Mhm.
as well. So there's like something for every creative, and I mostly use InDesign, Photoshop. I use Illustrator the most. Illustrator is the platform for creating vectors. So that's for vectors. Photoshop is for pixels, for images mostly. And InDesign is mostly for layouts. So if
Mhm.
you're doing like a book design layout, like the inside of a book, and placing text and the images and all
Yeah.
that.
That's fine.
Design.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. And
yeah,
do you like surround yourself with like minded like creatives like in that field?
yeah. I have a lot of different connections. They're all lots of designers I know. A lot of other work as well that inspired.
Mhm. So as far as
I think the easiest,
Mhm. Continue, sorry. Continue. Mhm.
um, the easiest tool for anyone to use is Canva. But Canva, just because you use Canva, it doesn't mean that you're created a good design.
Mhm.
So when a designer uses Canva, then they can use a tool that's easy and it's easy for a client to edit, but they create the design. They actually know what they're doing as design. They actually know how it's supposed to look for brands, and then they hand it off to the um, client, and it's easy for them to just edit the text. For example, if they want to do social media posts. So Canva is I guess, the easiest one. But it's not exactly the most effective one in
Yeah,
every single thing.
it's more the Spark Notes version of designing. It's kind of like it makes it simple. It kind of like dumbs it down a little bit.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I got you. Yeah, because like me, I do buzz art. You probably never heard of it as a designer. It's called buzz art. The shaking of disapproval.
Never heard of it, but I was just approve of this stuff.
Yeah, it's very simplistic, and that's what I do myself. That's how I did my logo. That's how I did the layout of this video screen that you'll see when it's published. That's why I do all my stuff. You know, it's just pretty simple. It's very yeah, and that,
Adobe Express.
mhm.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Adobe
Adobe.
Express is like
Yep. Hmm.
the Adobe version of Canva. So
Adobe Express. Okay.
yeah, they created something similar to Canva as well.
So that's for the normies. That's like if you're barely starting, you want to get your feet wet, or you don't want to deep dive into
Yeah.
it. Okay, so that's what you.
If you're not a designer and you just want something cute to design real quick and you want to do it yourself, then
Adobe Express. There you
yeah.
go. Yeah. From Sabrina's mouth, Adobe Express. Interesting. That's dope, man. That's dope. Like I said, when I came across the profile, like I said, the things that stood out to me was the way that you were not just like, give me your money. I'm such a badass. Here's my work. No, it was like let's relax. Let's see where this is gonna go. Let's see what we can do, and actually even know what a brand is. You know, a brand is a brand. You know, it's not just a logo. So that was really interesting, and that's something that I think has to take note. Like, do you feel like other creators are that way too in graphic design, or is it like everyone's different? Obviously.
Um, it's hard to say because I've seen so many graphic designers. I've seen so many blogs. I've seen so many online designers. There's a lot of designers that know what they're doing.
Mhm.
They know exactly the value of having research, and they don't have to do it. They don't have to. They it's like either a full brand or nothing. They don't
Okay, so
have the. It's not.
what would a
So
full
then
list be?
a full brand would be the brand strategy I mentioned before, the mission statement, values, all that, learning everything about the brand and who they're trying to target
Mhm.
and its personality. And then you have the logos. Um, you basically have the main logo, and then you have other versions of the same logo, but they just look a little bit different and they fit in different places. Like the main logo may not fit as an icon, like for your website,
Yep.
or it may not fit on certain places on a product. So you create variations of the same logo just to like fit in different places. So that's like for different versions of the same logo. And then you have the things like the brand pattern. It's just a pattern that just like sophisticates the entire brand even more. There's the brand guidelines, the do's and don'ts of the brand, basically, like where your logo should sit, what the colors of the logo are, the exact colors, like the hex codes. The hex codes tell you exactly what shade of color it is and what can be used. If you have a web designer, for example, wants to create your website, they know exactly what colors you use for the brand itself to make it match and they can.
So so you're essentially creating like the DNA for it so that someone else can come and continue. Oh, okay, so like color schemes, things like that. Um,
Typography, exactly the name and the styles of the fonts.
so that's like a whole marketing campaign, really. I mean, that's it's not just here's a logo and have a good day. It's oh wow, that's great. That's commendable.
Yeah, and then you can add things like mock-up or brand, I mean, business cards. And it really depends on what the client also needs. So there's so many things that go into it, and we create an entire presentation for it, and that's like how many people try and keep, and they can like have any other people they hire for anything else. They have all that information there. Like it's
Mm.
theirs to use. Yeah.
So when you create a logo or a brand, is there any copyright on your end, or is it the clients because they paid for it? Is it do they own all the rights to it?
Like well, most designers, I don't say all, but I don't know. But I know that most designers will leave the source file to themselves. They not give out the source file because if you because a lot of like clients end up just taking the source file and giving it to another designer to that will pay, charge them less
Uh,
to make changes.
huh.
So what most designers do is they okay, we're done with the work. We'll give you the PNGs, the PDF, um, the JPEGs. These are all they can all be used to, to actually create.
Yeah, everything. Yep. Yep. Mm.
Yeah. Well, and some cases you do have to give the source file, but I think it's like it depends. Like it could be either you like talk to let's say the person that creates signs for them. Sometimes people that create the signages, they need the actual source file. You could like stay in contact with the person creating the signage and give them the source file yourself instead of just handing it over to the client. And
Mhm.
not every place needs the source file. So in most cases, I would avoid giving out the source file, but sometimes you have to. You have to like I guess
Mm.
hope that they don't. you know.
You kind of got to
But
go
it's not,
with the vibe of the person.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So pretty much,
Wow.
you get everything in a file, all of the different formats that are needed, and the brand presentation. And
Mhm.
yeah, that's the the basis of it, basically.
What do you feel like your customer field you mostly consist of? Like restaurants, entrepreneurs creating clothing? Like, what do you feel like you kind of work with the most?
Um, I currently, or in the past year and a half that I've worked with all the clients that I did, I haven't had a specific field that
Mhm.
I've thought more of.
Mhm.
I think the most I did was branding, but I even did a few different other projects that were outside of branding and from different fields. I've had literally like a restaurant owner reach out to me and I did for him his logo menu. And then I did branding for a beauty salon. I did logo for her without the full branding because she just needed the logo. With some added a few steps in there. So essential for me to do that. Create the mood boards as well. We didn't talk about the mood boards are kind of like what get the inspiration going. I'm looking for the right inspiration and showing it to the client after we're done with asking them the questions. And it's stuff happens before we actually start designing. So yeah, and I had a book cover I did as well for an author. Um,
Do you have to read the book to make a good book cover?
no, his book wasn't even done when
Oh, wow.
he or
Okay.
yeah. It was a completely different concept when
Mhm.
we started. We started with one idea and we had to design the cover 3 times because his ideas kept changing
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
wanted
Yeah.
it to be yeah, until we reached the final one. So I didn't really read the book, but he gave me a summary of it and like the
Okay.
first chapter and that's pretty much what I read. I got the idea of it, the basis, and that's how we can.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah, so no wonder you talked about books and covers. So you did book covers. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I need to recover. I've also worked with a web developer before.
Mhm.
The branding and then the web design. He wanted to create he's a web developer, he created websites.
Mhm.
So I've had different projects, different views.